All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to look at graphing linear equations in standard form. But we're actually going to break this up into 2 days to try and make it a little bit easier for you. So we're not going to get to the graphing part just yet. We're going to be looking at graphs and trying to interpret them. And then we're going to do part of the work, which is getting ready to graph. And then the next lesson will be putting all of that together and actually graphing a standard form equation on a good old coordinate plane, x-axis, y-axis. So what you need to know is our important information here is that when you are trying to find the x-intercept, you are going to learn that you have to use y is equal to 0. And that's because the x-intercept is where the line, or the point, where the line crosses the x-axis. And I really want to make sure you understand that that is a point, and that's an ordered pair. So that's the parentheses, and you have the x-coordinate, y-coordinate in there. And then you're also going to learn about the y-intercept. The y-intercept is when the x value is equal to 0, and that's because that is the point, or the ordered pair, where the line touches the y-axis. So again, it's that ordered pair, that parentheses, x, and then y. Remember, it's always x first, y second. All right, so get that information down in your notes, and we're going to go ahead and start off. Normally, we end with this type of problem, but we're going to start with it because your homework is also going to start this way. So you're going to have a graph presented to you, and again, you're going to look at where the line touches the x-axis, then where it touches the y-axis. And we're going to give you a pretty basic idea. So it's literally just going to be moving your pencil to right here. You're going to actually put a little dot there. So on your worksheet, remember, if you're using the CAMI extension, you can just use the drawing tool and draw a dot there. If you print out the worksheet, you could put your pencil right there. Now, remember, we're always going to do the x first and the y second. So if you look on the x-axis, that point is specifically at -4. So some students may mistakenly write x equals -4 and stop there. We need the actual ordered pair. The ordered pair is -4, 0. Because remember, the x-intercept is where the line touches the x-axis and y is equal to 0. So you have an x number, y number is 0, and that's for your x-intercept. Now the y-intercept, I already got the point right there. So again, you would put your pencil or the CAMI drawing tool right there. And you would notice, hey, the y on the y-axis is actually a negative value, so -3. But we don't stop there because remember, we need to actually make an ordered pair. And this is the one that the students get confused on. You need to have your x first, which is 0 for the y-intercept, and y is equal to -3. So reaffirming that idea, x-coordinate, y-coordinate, always written that way. On the x-intercept, your y value is 0. And that's going to be very helpful for what we're going to do for the next few problems. And then when you're on your y-intercept, the x value is 0. So notice how the answers are written in nice ordered pair. So the majority of your work today and the next lesson is taking an equation given to you in this form, which is called standard form, and we're going to go ahead and identify the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So to do that, I have my students separate it into two ideas. So if you'd like to, you could even put like a vertical line segment down the middle. But again, I always start with x-intercept, y equals 0, and y-intercept, x equals 0. So I always start with the x-intercept first, because again, x is first. It's always first. And in doing so, I know y is 0. So I simply need to substitute 0 for my y. Now the great news about the 0 is, well, it really just disappears, right? Because 2 times 0 is 0. So now I have a simple equation that I need you to solve. Most of you can just look at it. But again, the proper solving is to divide by 4. And then you get x equals 4. Now remember, we don't stop there. We want an actual ordered pair. If x is 4, what is y going to be? Oh yeah, it's right there on my screen. Y is equal to 0. So I write my ordered pair. Now I'm going to do similar work on the other side where it says y-intercept and x equals 0. I'm going to substitute 0 for my x and then solve for my y. 4 times 0 just disappears, so 2y is equal to 16. I divide, and I find y is equal to 8. Now remember, on your ordered pair, x coordinate, y coordinate, x first, y second. So this time, looking up, it says x is 0, y is 8. Now, please do not make a mistake that students do quite often, and they try and combine that information. So they would say 4, 8, because they would take the 4 from the x and the 8 from the y, and they put it all together in one ordered pair. That's wrong. Because again, we're trying to learn how to graph, and we need 2, 3, sometimes more points, but here we're just using our x-intercept and our y-intercept. So we're going to pause on the graphing idea, and we're just going to go ahead and practice that same skill or same steps on this problem here. Notice how the x value or the x coefficient is negative, so we just got to be a little bit more careful there. So in order to find the intercepts again, I'm going to separate it first. My suggestion is to always separate it because some students just stop at the x-intercept and they forget to do the y-intercept. And they're like, what am I supposed to do next? Separate them. All right, so to solve for y, now the great thing about this is a lot of students catch on really quick and they do a bunch of mental math. Well, 5 times 0 is just 0. Being careful with your negative, divide by -3, or mental math, -3 times what value x would give me 15, -5. Then I put it in a nice ordered pair, -5, 0. Looking good. Then we do similar work, but just a little bit different, because remember, to find the y-intercept, x has to be 0. So when I substitute it, I don't even have to worry about the negative anymore, because -3 times 0 is just 0. 5y is equal to 15. Well, that's kind of a duh statement. We know y is 3. Now again, on this one here, this is the one that students usually make mistakes on. X is 0, y is 3. So what do you think the mistake is from some students? Yeah, they would write it as 3, 0, but you are supposed to write it as 0, 3. And then remember, don't make that mistake that some students do, and they combine it all, and they try and say -5, 3. No, it's two separate, distinct points. All right, I think we just got one more, real quick. Find the intercepts. Notice this time, the coefficient of y is negative. And again, that's usually when students start making mistakes, is with the signs. 8th graders tend to work a little bit too quickly with the negative signs. So we're going to separate it. Again, we're trying to find the x-intercept and y-intercept, and they are both ordered pairs. Substituting in 0 for the y, well, that just is gone, right? We love that 0. So it's kind of like when we were on the data table graphing, and that 0 really made it easy for us. 2x equals 8, so x has to be 4. Again, it's the power of 0. X coordinate, y coordinate, 4, 0. All right, similar work over here again. Get to ignore the x, but look at the -4y. Don't forget that. Most students, if they forget the -4y, they're obviously just going to say 4y equals 8, and that would give them a 2, but we're getting a -2. So a completely different value with a simple negative sign. That would give us a different ordered pair, and eventually it would give us a completely different graph as well. Because remember, we said like the graph might be uphill, downhill. So got to get it correct. Don't combine it. We're good to go. So on your assignment for lesson 4.5 day 1, all you're going to do is a little bit of matching, really identification of what the x-intercept and y-intercept are. And then you're also going to be doing a little bit of solving, but you're not graphing yet. You're looking at graphs, but you're not creating graphs yet. All right, if you have any questions, make sure you can ask in the chat or office hours. All right, be awesome.